Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
What's going on, guys? It is Wednesday, February the 13th, Valentine's Day Eve. As I'm recording now, it's already Wednesday. It's 1:14 in the morning. I usually don't record this late. I don't know, I got kind of lazy. Well, I wouldn't say I got that lazy. We're doing a lot of cleaning here at the house. And it's rather busy, so took a couple naps. Naps are always fun. And watched SmackDown. And, oh yeah, by the way, you guys already know who I am. This is the Drew Yari Show. This is your host, Dan Thompson. I'm kidding. This is Drew Yari. Anyways, so yeah, I guess we can kind of jump into SmackDown. I guess I'm still feeling the effects of Trez being on the show. My ADHD is just going to go over the place. I don't even think I'm going to stick to the script by going by bullet point by bullet point. What did I do today? Well, like I mentioned earlier, we're cleaning. We have an inspection where we live, and it's already Wednesday, but later on today. So basically, making the house look less like a piece of shit. I mean, it looks nice now. It actually looks a lot, whiter, and it smells more bleachier. And I got our grass cut, so that's good. So now we have a backyard. Our dog Ellie, she doesn't look too happy about it because she was more used to her jungle yard. Now it's been taken away from her by us terrible, awful people. Still have a lot more cleaning to do, as with any other home people live in. So, yeah, and took a nap earlier. Woke up around 7:30 and watched SmackDown. Wasn't able to watch the beginning. Before I started recording, I watched the beginning with Charlotte. And for most of you that don't know, Charlotte was added as a quote-unquote Becky Lynch's replacement at Mania. Which, obviously Becky's going to be added into the match and storyline against Ronda Rousey. And this was speculation, after the Rumble, where, suspicion arose that I'm using the word suspicion a lot, that Charlotte would be added to the match, to which a lot of people weren't too happy about because they just wanted to see Becky versus Ronda. And I want to see Becky versus Ronda, but I don't have a problem with Charlotte being added to the match because it just makes it even better. And the way I see it, Ronda has unfinished business with both Becky and Ronda, because she was supposed to face Becky at Survivor Series, and then the whole, schmoz with Nia Jax happened. She ended up facing Charlotte and possibly had her best match since being in the company. And then Charlotte beat the ever-living piss out of her. So they had unfinished business, and then Ronda, at the next pay-per-view, cost Becky and Charlotte the match against Asuka, which we'll get into Asuka a little bit. So yeah, on Monday, I didn't really get to catch too much of Raw. I was really tired. I don't know why. I was just dead. As soon as I got home, I just died. I died and came back to life. I just fell asleep on the couch and woke up, and my girlfriend and her sister were watching Sherlock Holmes on Netflix, the Benedict Cumberbatch one. They really got into that show. It's a pretty good show, but it's weird because they've been on 5 or 6 seasons, and each episode is literally like a mini movie, which I think is interesting. It's hard for me. I can watch a movie, but for each episode to be the length of a movie, I don't know. It takes some time getting used to. But it's a very good show. I don't need to tell you that. But yeah, anyways, for anyone that didn't watch Raw, and I hardly did, I'm just looking at the results. Becky Lynch gets invited to Raw because she has to apologize to McMahon's for hitting Stephanie in the face and slapping Triple H. And then Triple H telling her, "You have until the end of the night to apologize." And, later on in the night, they're just going through these different segments where Becky is interacting with different superstars like Alexa, like Ronda. They literally stopped a match to go to the back and show her talking to Ronda. And then, she's talking to Finn. So then she comes out, and Vince McMahon comes out and says, you've been replaced by Ronda, or not Ronda, by Charlotte. Charlotte comes out, the whole place boos her, which I love this Charlotte. I love this Charlotte Flair. Charlotte doesn't work as a face. And I love Charlotte, but she does not work well as a face. Bitchy, cunt, heel Charlotte is the best Charlotte. I mean, her last name is Flair. She has to be a heel. She can't just be this cookie-cutter, white meat baby face. She needs to be a heel. It's plain and simple. There's no other way around it. So they open up SmackDown with Charlotte coming out to a barrage of boos, to which she's playing up to it nicely, like she's embracing the boos. They didn't try and hide behind it and go, gee guys, gee willikers guys, I love you all. No, she comes out and she's like, oh, you want to boo me? Boo me. Go ahead, boo me. Boo. I swim in your boos. Like, she just is embracing the bitchy heelness of it, and I love it. And I'm not gonna lie, she looks really fucking good. Like, not just on the mic, not just in the ring, but she looks really good. I'm starting to come around, if you know what I mean. She comes out and she's just being this condescending heel cunt of a character. She's telling the fans, shut your mouth while the queen is talking. Becky, the myth of the man can live on, but the queen runs this place. WrestleMania is my destiny, A, B, C, and D, and blah, blah, blah. But the funniest part of the promo was when she's saying, hey, maybe if you guys chant Becky and I point at the sign, maybe she'll come out. I thought that was good. That was gold, actually. I love Charlotte. I love Charlotte as a heel, not just as a competitor, but I love her as a heel. She works better as a heel. So, but yeah, Becky's obviously going to get added to the match. They're going to figure out a storyline to add her to the match. They're probably going to have her face Charlotte at Fastlane, I believe that's the next pay-per-view after Elimination Chamber. They're going to have her face Charlotte, and then Becky's going to win. Or, more than likely, Becky's going to win. And she'll be added to the match, and there you go. There's your WrestleMania match. A lot of speculation going around. See, there's that word speculation again. A lot of speculation going around. Will it be the main event? I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, you have that, and then you have Seth Rollins versus Brock, which we'll talk about later, way later. Which maybe that should be the main event. But this seems more like a high-profile match because you have Ronda Rousey, who's the most recognizable name on the planet, or one of the most recognizable names on the planet. This is a legit UFC fighter, the baddest woman on the planet. I mean, the match sells itself. You have the Queen, you have the man, and then you have the baddest woman on the planet, all in one match. And Don Tony made a great point. Not Charlotte. Ronda seems like she gets rattled by boos. So in this match, the fans are gonna cheer heavily for Becky. They're gonna boo the fuck out of Ronda, and then you have Charlotte there to kind of take that heat, pretty much to say, "Hey, I got this, Ronda." That works perfectly. So and looking at this match, I'm actually looking forward to it a lot more. The more I think about it, the more I look forward to it. I hope it does main event WrestleMania, and not just because it's women, but because it just seems like the better overall story. It looks like it's going to be the better overall match on the card. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins will be a good match, but compared to this, I think the women should main event Mania. That's just my opinion. Okay. What else happened on SmackDown? I didn't see too much of SmackDown. They apparently had a gauntlet women's tag team match, which I'm glad I missed that. Sorry, I just ate, so the food's coming up. I guess we can get into the main event. The main event Oh, by the way, anyone that didn't know, Mustafa Ali is officially out of the Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view due to injuries that he got from last week against Randy Orton. He apparently had a clavicle. That was an injured clavicle, if I'm getting that right. And, you saw that eye that was pretty much like, it looked like it was closed all the way shut. So he's out of the match, and they replaced him with Kofi Kingston, and I love Kofi. I love the New Day. I love all those guys. I love Kofi. Out of all three of the guys in the New Day, Kofi is the better wrestler. He can go out there and have a great match, just like he did tonight, which we'll get into in a bit. But I thought this should have been a better opportunity to put Big E over, because Big E, I think, has a better upside. Like say they broke up the New Day tomorrow. Big E would have the better upside because, he can talk, he can work. He has the look. He has the look that they want. So, I don't know why you waste an opportunity with Kofi. I'm not, okay, I'll reward that differently. You didn't waste it with Kofi. Kofi is amazing. Kofi can go out there and wrestle. But, this would have been a better opportunity to put Big E over. Just an opinion. But, anyways, the gauntlet match starts with Kofi and Daniel Bryan. And Eric Rowan gets thrown out. Actually, the New Day get thrown out first because Eric Rowan interferes, and then Eric Rowan gets thrown out. Kofi ends up pinning the WWE Champion Daniel Bryan, which was pretty shocking to say the least. That kind of gives that momentum of, does Kofi have a chance? Probably not. But then again, we don't know what they're doing with Daniel Bryan at Mania or with the WWE Championship in general. Next competitor in was Jeff Hardy. Kofi and Jeff wrestled for a bit, and then Kofi pinned him. After that was Samoa Joe. Kofi reverses a cocaine clutch into a pin. Pins Samoa Joe. Joe is pissed off and beats the shit out of Kofi outside of the ring. And pretty much, chokes him out. AJ comes out, makes a save, and beats up Joe. So, and then AJ's wrestling Kofi, but he's being a little reluctant, and then Kofi pushes him and go, come on, let's go. Let's fight. Let's go. By this time, Kofi had already been wrestling for well over an hour, because I remember this match started like at 7:40 something, like 7:40, 7:45. And by this time, it was already, close to the show ending, which was around 9, which was 9 here in San Antonio. So AJ and Kofi wrestle for a bit, and then AJ, locks on his calf crusher. Kofi taps out. Great outing for Kofi. And then, Randy comes out literally at like the 9:59 mark. RKO's AJ out of nowhere, pins him, and then ends Raw. So because he won the match, Randy will be the last competitor in the Elimination Chamber match. He'll be the last one to enter. And for anyone that doesn't know the rules of an Elimination Chamber match, 6 competitors to start the match, and then 4 other wrestlers are in pods where they have to wait, I believe, 5 minutes to enter the match. So, and then the last one enters, of course. It's kind of like the Rumble, where they always say, if you're the last competitor, you might have a chance of winning. No. That's kind of mean to say. Taker, Cena, and Triple H won, and they were number 30. That was the end of SmackDown. SmackDown wasn't that good. I mean, the main event was pretty good. It was good to see Kofi get some offense in, and them to see put over Kofi the way they did. Maybe this might mean something at Elimination Chamber. But then again, like I said, we don't know what they're doing with the WWE Championship. And, to quote Kevin Castle, I like not knowing what they're going to do, because you always see online reports about, this supposedly is going to be the main event at WrestleMania or SummerSlam. It's like, can we just go back to the days of us not knowing? Like, can we just, can we kind of assume what they're going to do? The internet, in a way, has kind of been good and bad for wrestling. Because, I remember, 10, 15 years ago, I would see, my favorite star, and I'm like, oh, are they gonna fight so-and-so for the title at fill in the blank of big time pay-per-view event. Nowadays, you can just open up WrestleZone or PW Torch or Dave Meltzer's blog and just see inside sources say that so and so will be at Mania, and we're in like August already. It's like, oh, okay then. So, but yeah, I like the fact that we're not, that we don't know what they're doing with the WWE Championship. So I'm scared what they're gonna do with Asuka's championship, because I was kind of set on, it being Charlotte versus Asuka again, which I would have been fine with that. But then you look at it, it's going, okay, Charlotte, regardless of what they did with her character, she was still the hottest, hottest woman in the company. She was the best wrestler in the company. Put her against Asuka, another one of the best, women in the company. They're not just going to let Asuka lose again. They're sure as hell not going to let Charlotte lose. So what are they going to do with Asuka? I kind of pitched the idea a while back of, bring up Shayna Baszler. And, not a title for title thing. Kind of do what they did with Kevin Owens when he first came onto the main roster, when he was the NXT champion. When he, did the whole Cena Open challenge for the U.S. title. Have her show up on the main roster with the title. And here's the idea I would pitch. Not Charlotte, Asuka, I guess the night after maybe Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, she comes out, she's like, I need competition. Who's ready for Asuka? And I can't do an Asian accent. And then you hear Shayna Baszler's music hit. And she says, I'm ready for Asuka, and she just starts talking shit up at the ramp. And then she comes to the ring and says, hey, let's do it, champ. I'm pretty sure they'll think of something for them to say. And then, Asuka, I guess, kicks her in the face and walks away, and then that's when the rest of, Baszler's crew, I can't really remember their names, they come out and they just beat the shit out of Asuka, ambush her, and then Baszler gets in, they all just take turns beating the shit out of her. So you have that match. You have two women who are legit strikers. Baszler was an ex-MA chick. Asuka, who's she can kick. She can go out there and have a good match. So that seems like it's going to be a pretty good match, a pretty stiff match. And then I guess the night before at the takeover before Mania, you can have Baszler drop the title to whomever. I honestly don't know who the hell's in it. What other women are in NXT besides Baszler, Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, and then that I call her Toni Braxton for whatever fucking reason. Bianca Belair, I think it's her name. And that's about it. Or you can just bring up Io Shirai or Kairi Sane and just have a match against Asuka. Just the Asians get their own part of the show. We need more Asians. I don't know why that was funny. But yeah, Baszler versus Asuka I think is the better way to go for Asuka. Don't just put her in some random ass gauntlet women's match, because other than Becky and Charlotte, there really is nobody else on the show that's worth putting in Asuka's way. Who else? Mandy Rose, no. I like looking at Mandy Rose, but I don't like looking at her wrestle. Sonya Deville, no. Naomi, I like Naomi, but no. Carmella, fuck no. Just there's really nobody else on the show that's worth putting in front of Asuka. So there's that. What else? Like I said, I didn't get a chance to really watch Raw in its entirety. We'll just kind of do a brief review. We're just jumping back and forth. I'll do the Elimination Chamber predictions later to end the show. Raw review, Dean Ambrose. There is that skit with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is in the ring talking to Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins actually had a pretty good promo where he said, "I will sell the soul to the devil, and I will burn in hell just to be the WWE champion." Which I'm like, Okay, that was pretty intense. And they're just going back and forth. It was a pretty good promo. Dean comes out for his match, which again I didn't see, and he tells Seth, "I only got one thing to say to you: slay the beast," which apparently that was off script. He apparently went off script, and I'm guessing Dean just doesn't care because the talk going around, if you've been living under a rock, is that Dean Ambrose is he's not renewing his contract after Mania. He's gone. So, and I don't know. I'm not sold on it until I actually see him leave. Until after WrestleMania, when Dean Ambrose is officially done with the company, I'll convince myself, okay, Dean's gone. But I'm just not sure if this is a real thing or if it's just a work just to get him over. Kind of like with CM Punk, where CM Punk was leaving, and then they made that very clear in the storyline that he was leaving, and then he ended up signing back because the audience wanted more Punk. The audience loved Punk. They loved the fact, that he did the pipe bomb promo, which everyone knows about. That each week he continued to go out there and say whatever the hell he wanted, and the audience loved it. Maybe this is what they're doing with Dean. They're announcing that he's leaving to see if it'll help get him over, and it's also working. If they're saying that he can just go out there and just be genuine and not be generic, be organic, and just say whatever the hell is on his mind and see how the crowd reacts. And the crowd obviously loves Dean, because last week on Raw they have him wrestle against EC3. The audience has no clue who EC3 is. Yeah, not everyone watches NXT as shocking as that is. Not the whole WWE audience does not watch NXT. I mean, I hardly watch NXT. I just watch the pay-per-views. And I know some of the names. Obviously, I know who EC3 is because he was in Impact Wrestling. But again, the average WWE consumer does not know who EC3 is. They never watch Impact Wrestling, which apparently Impact only got 13,000 viewers on the Pursuit channel, which is god awful. Yeah, the audience still loves Dean. They recognize him. They've known him for almost 7 years. They have no clue who EC3 is. Yeah, he went off script, and then he ends up beating EC3. What else? The Revival are the new tag team champions on Raw after they beat Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, which I watched a little bit of the match. I didn't get a chance to watch the ending because that's when I crashed. The Revival win, and from what I heard, they won to crickets and I like the Revival. They're a very good tag team, but Don Tony again hit the nail on the head. A tag team like this, if they debuted in the 90s. If they debuted like the 80s or 90s, they would have been over. They would have been over as fuck. People would have dug them. But you put that kind of tag team in now, the audience doesn't care because they want to see the more high energy, back and forth, intense action. They don't want to see methodical, technical, smooth as silk, as Arn Anderson would say. That sounded more like Sean Connery. They want to see AJ Styles. They want to see Daniel Bryan. They want to see Ricochet. They want to see Kenny Omega. They want to see those type of guys. They don't want to see Arn and Tully. That methodical, hard knocks, smooth as silk type of wrestling. To them that's boring. It's a lot of the old school wrestling fans. It's that's pretty cool. But the new school wants to see something different. Which that kind of goes into the next topic. I have AEW, and I will pull this up if I have it. Yes, I do. AEW's reported about AEW's reported scheduled plans here in Cage Side Seats by Sean Reuter. Apparently, AEW already has more scheduled events post Double or Nothing, which is May 25th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And if anyone doesn't know, last week they announced Kenny Omega is officially part of the company, which doesn't shock me. He is also their executive vice president, which I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, not to say Kenny Omega is dumb. He seems like a very smart guy. I'm just not sure what he knows about business. I mean, obviously he knows about the wrestling business, but like running a business. But we'll find out. I'm reading on here. As mentioned in our latest rumor roundup, a source very close to AEW, a Wrestle Talk planned schedule of all elite wrestling shows leading up to the launch of a weekly television series in October. I'm reading this because I don't want to sound like it's just coming from me. Because I don't want to sound like a goofy podcaster like Don Tony would say. I'm just reading the source material that is right in front of my eyes. So, the plan not only features dates, but has venues for shows. May 25th, Double or Nothing, we don't know about that. June 2019, unspecified U.S. show. July 2019, already announced Jacksonville show. August 2019, Albert Hall, London, England. That food's coming up. September 2019, All Out, which is the sequel to All In. Sears Center, Chicago. And then October 2019, weekly television begins. Last week on Wrestling Soup. Not last week. Actually, it was this week on Side Salad between John and Mish. I believe it was Mish that said that a very close friend of theirs, who's always been pretty good with insider information, had told him that AEW already has a deal inked with TNT, which is pretty interesting because WCW, Turner, bought WCW. Turner's a big wrestling fan, so it's interesting. If they have a TV deal, that's awesome. And I miss the days of competition in wrestling. Here's the thing about AEW. It's not that we're saying we want it to fail and that we hate it and that we wish they would all die and that AEW would die. That's not it. It's just AEW fans, I think, they're very rabid because they like something that hasn't even happened yet. And again, it's kind of like with Marvel fans. We, Avengers Endgame, we love the movie. It hasn't even came out yet. We haven't seen it. We've only seen trailers. And for all I know, the movie might not be as good as the trailers make out to be. And Marvel's always knocked it out of the park, but how do we know? We've only seen trailers. For AEW, we just seen what Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho have been spouting. So, I mean, it sounds good on paper. Supposedly, they're trying to bring in Batista. Batista met up with Chris Jericho and they had lunch. And apparently he's, tearing an offer from AEW. And supposedly, Randy Orton's he's taking offers from AEW. Which, again, I don't believe. Mark Henry kind of commented on saying, Randy's a businessman. So I don't know. But, again, it sounds good on paper, but we haven't seen anything yet. And it's just a fair assessment. We haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen a match yet. I'm not going to give my undivided attention and affection to something that I really don't know anything about. And the response is, "Oh, fuck you, you're a WWE fanboy. You're all about Vince and blah, you don't like wrestling. You hate wrestling." It's like, but I love wrestling. I always love wrestling, but I'm not gonna say something's amazing if it hasn't happened yet. Sorry, I'm just scratching my foot. It itches like hell. Ooh, okay, that feels good. Anyways, that was kind of dirty. But yeah, the AEW, I like the fact that there's another company coming, and I want it to do well. But we're in a time where wrestling is not that popular. I mean, this isn't the 90s where you had WCW and WWE. That was when wrestling was at its boom period. It was in the golden age. When WWF bought WCW, a lot of wrestling fans kind of died out because you still had those diehards of WCW. And when WCW left, that's when a big chunk of wrestling fans are left. They just stopped watching because they don't care about WWF. Sorry. And, they tried to bring in more alternatives like, TNA. And that was kind of working for a while, but then, as we all know the story behind that, they kind of got full of themselves and started sticking to that formula that was kind of giving them moderate success. They decided to, bring in more names and Hulk Hogan. That's what kind of killed them. And then they took away everything that made them unique, like the 6-sided ring. And then Hogan just literally says, whether you like it or not, this is going to be permanent. He's supposed to be a phase at the time. He's telling people, well, if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. So, and again, like I said, I like the fact that there's another possible company. Well, not possible, it is. I like the fact there's another company coming in, and they supposedly have a TV deal, and it's going to be under Turner. And then you have this guy who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars to breathe life into it and finance it. But I don't know how Cody is as a businessman. We all know his dad was a booker, and there's mixed signals there. And I'm not speaking on something I know. I'm just going by what I hear about people. The Young Bucks, I don't know how they are as businessmen. Kenny Omega, I don't know how he is as a businessman. They all seem like smart guys. Another thing that kind of rubs people the wrong way about this AEW thing is that it just seems... I don't know, it just seems like these guys are kind of just like patting themselves on the back over something that hasn't happened. And you have Cody saying stuff like, this is my love letter to professional wrestling. Which, I don't know. But, all in all, what it comes down to is my thoughts are just, it's good to kind of breathe life into something. I mean, now they have matches announced, which helps. It's not like with All In where they were literally. It seemed like a few weeks before they suddenly decided to announce matches. The events in May 25th. We finally have matches. Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega, which is a dream match. Even though they've wrestled twice, they wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom, and I think they wrestled on Jericho's boat cruise. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha. Was it the Luchas? I forget their fuck. Pac versus Hangman Page, which that should be pretty good. That's just a show, actually. And they announced a women's match. I forget their names. I'm not even going to bother to look it up. And someone else is showing up. Cody apparently doesn't have a match. And they did a bit on their YouTube channel where somebody said so-and-so called you again, but they had the name. They said you still don't have a match for Double or Nothing. So it's more than likely going to be one of their supposed new signings they're looking to bring in. So I mean, it would be pretty cool if Batista came in because that's a name. Batista's a name. Not just his wrestling. He's a very recognizable name. I think that would be pretty big business for them if they got Batista. They would bring more eyes and ears to the product. If they got John Cena, I think that would be more of a game changer because it'd be kind of reminiscent. It'd be kind of it'd be similar to when Hulk Hogan came into WCW. Because then WCW was just known as a very good wrestling company, more of an alternative to WWF, which WWF is more of like a children's Saturday morning cartoon show. They bring in Hogan, and that brings in the ratings, because you have the biggest name in wrestling on a small wrestling show, and that ended up making him the biggest wrestling show for a while. They're beating WWF in the ratings for 83 weeks. I hope I got that right. You bring John Cena into AEW, that will be fucking huge. Because, John Cena, he's pretty much part-time. He's made it very clear he's part-time. You put him in AEW, it'll be fucking huge. Because even if you don't watch wrestling, you know who John Cena is. My mom doesn't even watch wrestling, but she knows who John Cena is. Even my dad, who hates wrestling, he knows who John Cena is. That will be huge for that company. Orton, I don't think would be a game changer, but it would help. I kind of have this theory of, what if you put Orton in AEW where he's not having people in his ear tell him how to wrestle or how to work a match, or tell them, you have to do this A, B, C, and D in a match. What if he's just Orton that can just go out there and just wrestle however the hell he wants? Because we've all said in the past, when Randy actually wants to try, he can go out there and try. And I think Randy Orton in AEW would be interesting. You have the matchups. Randy versus Kenny Omega, I think would be a fucking awesome match. Randy versus Hangman Page, Randy versus Joey Janela, I think would be pretty interesting. So you pretty much write itself. Yeah, it's pretty much enough AEW news. And going back to the news of the day, Pedro Morales has passed away. Pedro Morales passed away at the age of 76. And pulling up, he suffered Parkinson's disease. Man, that sucks. It's terrible. And can this website go more slower? He debuted in the company February 1971 with Vince Sr. in the WWF. Won the World Heavyweight title from Ivan Koloff after his reigning partner with and competed against McMahon's top face Bruno, including a famous draw at Shea Stadium in 1972, which was dubbed the match of the century. So that made him the first ever Latino world champion, which is pretty huge. You don't have too many of them. There's not too many successful Latinos in wrestling. You have Pedro, you have, I'm trying to remember his name, Santana was his name. And of course you had Eddie, and then you had Rey Mysterio. I think Eddie and Pedro were probably the more successful Latino wrestlers, by far. Rey was a world champion, but he wasn't that successful. Actually, I'll take that back. Rey is one of the successful, Latino wrestlers. Alberto Del Rio, he is not. Looking at more of his past, extremely popular babyface, Morales also had a sterling reputation with his peers. Competitors like Terry Funk and Stan Hansen have been known to sing his praises. He was also a trailblazer for Latino and Hispanic wrestlers in the United States and globally. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1995, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2015, and the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame in 2017. After leaving to work for NWA on the West Coast, he returned in 1980 with a tag title win alongside Bob Backlund at Shea and the Intercontinental victory in a feud with Ken Patera. Morales became the first man to win the then WWF's Triple Crown. He also held their United States title at various times in his career. Morales' success wherever he worked, which was at various times in his career in NWA territories, Japan, the AWA, and in his native Puerto Rico. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Pedro Morales. Truly a legend. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I really saw his career. I mean, he was way before my time, I'm just going by stats and what people are saying about him. He was a legend. I listened to a DT and Kev's their extra show on Mixler. They know more about him than me, and I'm just going by what they say. The guy was a legend. His resume speaks for itself. First ever Latino WWF champion, and the first man to win the WWF Triple Crown. Another thing that they talked about is that they never really talked about him too much. Like WWE, anytime they had like a again, anything. Like, one of the greatest WWF champions of all time. You hear Hogan, you hear Bruno a lot. They didn't really talk about Pedro that much. Which kind of begged the question, was there some kind of falling out with the company? I don't know, because a lot of people apparently had nothing but nice things to say about him. So I'm not gonna stay here and talk too much about it, because again, I don't know too much about it. I'm just going by what I see. What the fuck was that? Sorry. Anyways, next topic. Actually, I'll leave the Elimination Chamber, predictions for later. I'll just kind of go into the entertainment news. It was announced that Hulu greenlit 3 animated Marvel shows, which I didn't know that they were going to be anime. I thought they were going to be live action. Which, I think I clicked off a link. Shit. Are you kidding me? Come on. And I think okay, never mind. Okay. 4 new animated Marvel series plus a crossover special are coming to Hulu on TechCrunch.com. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Hulu has greenlit MODOK, Hitmonkey, Tigra and Dazzler Show, and Howard the Duck. The characters will then come together in a special titled The Offenders, which I guess is the opposite of Avengers and Defenders, which they're actually the good guys, and these guys are kind of shitty. These aren't exactly A-list or even B-list Marvel characters. Howard the Duck, created by Steve Gerber, is probably best known, mostly starring in a notorious 80s flop. But I've also got a soft spot for MODOK, gloriously ridiculous villain whose full name is Mental Organism Designed Only for Killing. And, reading more about it, presumably the strategy here is to make funny shows about some of the weirder Marvel characters. And there are some established names working behind the scenes when Kevin Smith signed up as a writer and executive producer in Howard the Duck, Patton Oswalt serving in a similar role in MODOK, and Chelsea Handler on Tigra and Dazzler Show. That's interesting. Meanwhile, the Netflix Marvel partnership, which also started out with 4 superhero series and a big crossover, appears to be coming to an end with Jessica Jones and Punisher, left uncancelled for now. So there you go. There's 3 out of 4 shows, have some big names attached to it. Kevin Smith doing Howard the Duck. I'm interested to see how that goes. Kevin Smith, his whole shtick is, very dirty and very vulgar, which I like. Howard the Duck, again, I didn't see the movie. It was before my time. People saying it's the biggest flop in, Marvel history. And, if anyone saw Guardians of the Galaxy, he appeared in Guardians. So how's that going to work out? And, matter of fact, I don't know too much about Howard the Duck. I don't know what his whole thing is. Hold on. And I honestly don't know most of these freaking characters. I like how the internet on my phone is slow, but on the laptop it works just fine. I don't get how that works. Usually I don't think it'd be like it would work in both ways. Okay, Howard the Duck. 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.6 on IMDb. And George Lucas was the executive producer in the movie. I ended up clicking on another arrow. It took me back. Howard the Duck. Come on. I would like this internet to be a lot faster. Okay. He is an anthropomorphic duck from Duck World. His affiliations are with Circuits of Crime, Defenders, All Night Party, Daydreamers, Armor, Fearsome Four, and Ducky Dozen. Partnerships are with Man-Thing and Beverly Switzler. Abilities, Master Quackfu, of course. Minimal magic manipulation as Iron Duck. Armored suit grants superhuman strength and durability. Foot-mounted leaping coils. Chest-mounted searchlight. Flamethrowers in both arms. And I'm sold. I'm kidding. I mean, it's Marvel. They haven't really put out anything shitty lately. We're not sure how that's going to go, but again, it's Marvel. We're going to watch it. We're hypnotized by their magic. MODOK, again, I don't know too much about him. He seems like a very... Well, obviously, they're looking at the more weird, kind of strange, out there Marvel characters. Which, again, it works. You want to bring more eyes to the product, like I mentioned about AEW. You want to bring more eyes to the product. You're going to put out a lot on your maybe not so, celebrated names. He was voted 100 on top 10 on the top 100 comic book villains of all time. Ranked MODOK as number 100. His alter ego is George Tarleton. He is superhuman. His abilities are superhuman intellect, psionic powers, exceptional ability to calculate probabilities. Again, I don't know too much about him. I think he appeared in one of the movies. I'm just trying to be sure. MODOK was originally considered to appear during early development of Captain America: The Winter Soldier as a main villain. Those actor Peter Dinklage was the first choice for the role. Interesting. But the role was finally cut for the final draft and replaced by Alexander Pierce. I remember hearing something about that because I thought, what's his name, Toby Jones, that's who he was supposed to be. But he ended up being another character entirely. Let's look that up and see who he's supposed to be. I'm doing the news. They don't even tell me that he's in it. I'm just saying a lot. Arnim Zola. Yeah, he wasn't MODOK, he was Arnim Zola. So who was this character supposed to be? Okay, that's who he was. Two very similar characters, except Zola has bigger arms. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, going back to the other characters, Tigra and Dazzler. What the hell is that? I know who Dazzler is. That's one of the X-Men, right? She's like a singer. And supposedly, like, Taylor Swift played her or was briefly mentioned in the Apocalypse movie. Tigra and Dazzler. Right, Tigra, who the hell is she? Tigra. Okay, Tigra is a fictional heroine. She's a cat person, magically transformed from human. Team affiliations: Avengers Resistance, the Battalion Initiative, Avengers, Fantastic Four, West Coast Avengers, Lady Liberators, Avengers Academy, New Warriors, Fearless Defenders, Alias abilities, superhuman strength, speed, senses, and agility, retractable claws, limited mystical abilities. Okay. Again, this is my first time hearing about her. I don't know anything about her. Okay. And then Dazzler. She sounds very familiar. Let's see. She was a singer. Alison Belair. Look, like I said Alison Brie. high-skilled athlete, trained singer, actress, and dancer, highly accomplished roller skater. How's that ability? Ability to convert sound into light beams of various forms of an intensity. Kind of sounds like Jubilee, which makes me not like her. All right, film. She was supposed to have a film in the 80s played by Bo Derek. The project was ultimately abandoned when temperamental director John Derek was brought on board, leading investors to back out. From the sounds of this, it sounds like he was not very liked. Yeah, here it is. Dazzler is alluded in a scene shot for X-Men Apocalypse. Her character is seen on a Records album cover that Scott Summers and Jean Grey purchased in a music store. The scene was cut for the final release. Alison Blair and Dazzler will be a character in Dark Phoenix, and supporting role of the actress has not been disclosed. Okay, interesting. And then there's another show that they're doing. Hit Monkey? The hell is that? Okay, Hit Monkey is a fictional character. Okay, we're going to know what that is. Abilities: expert marksman and martial artist, incredible ability and reflexes. His biography: an unnamed assassin was marked for death after his part in a failed political coup. After blowing up a squad of enemy soldiers, he decides to run for his life, passes out in the snow. After 4 days of fleeing, he is rescued by a troop of Japanese macaques. The monkeys allowed the assassin into their clan, with the exception of a lone monkey. The man knew he would be hunted, so he trained daily using snowmen as training dummies. Quietly, the monkey that distrusted him watched and eventually picked up on the fighter's skills. Okay. And then we're looking at Hulu will air a Hit Monkey animated series written and executive produced by Josh Gordon and Will Speck. Who's Josh Gordon? Okay, Josh Gordon, best known for directing films like Blades of Glory, The Switch, and Office Christmas Party. Never watched any of those. So yeah, there's your Marvel TV lineup, they're all going to be animated. Which I guess it's a more interesting idea. It's better to kind of switch it up every now and again because again, these are the characters that are a lot more, I guess, less celebrated, like very less celebrated. And you want to try something new. Not everything has to be live action. It's we're good with animated. It works. I'll watch it. The Howard the Duck series, I'll watch to see how ridiculous it is. And I love Kevin Smith. I like anything he does, even though not everything he does is amazing. But I love Kevin Smith. Dazzler and Tigra, that sounds like it has some promise to it. Hit Monkey just sounds ridiculous. And they have MODOK, which that will probably be ridiculous. But again, they all sound ridiculous. That's the point. That's why they're called the Offenders. So. What's next in our news? Sticking to Hulu. Canceled Marvel shows like Daredevil could be revived by Hulu, says Exect. And I'm on /film.com. The Wrap caught up with Craig Erwich, the senior VP of originals at Hulu, and asked if he was interested in bringing any shows like the Marvel series back to life in the service. Marvel has a ton of titles we'd be interested in. It kind of just depends on when they're ready and who, most importantly, is going to be behind these things. We've had a relationship with Marvel since the Runaways. We're getting into business with these animated shows. I'm sure it will lead to, business gets you business. We've had a good, great relationship. That's where opportunities tend to rise. And then it goes on. Can one of those opportunities be breathing new life into shows like Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, all of which were canceled in quick succession, seemingly out of the blue over the past few months? And they've already pretty much came out and said, that Punisher and Jessica Jones won't be getting, picked up after, I would say pretty much after Jessica Jones is done, they're going to announce that those shows are canceled. Disney CEO Bob Iger wants to invest more heavily into Hulu to make it bigger than a global draw. make its bigger global draw. Having these often violent, not exactly kid-friendly shows may be a good way to attract some more subscribers there. That makes sense. And I can see, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher, Jessica Jones. I can see them going there because, in this Fox deal, I believe, per the Fox deal, Disney would have a lot of ownership over Hulu. So I can see them, picking, the other shows up that are getting canceled by Netflix because, I forget, was it Jeff Loeb who owns Netflix? And Kevin Feige don't like each other. And, Netflix and Marvel are kind of like having a strange relationship. Supposedly the reason why they're getting rid of the shows is because of, budget issues and also the audience doesn't, care about the shows. Like, they don't watch them as much, which I want to know who these people are. And I think that's bullshit. I think it's just a personal thing. I think Marvel, from day one, whenever they put these shows out, they were saying, it's all connected! Yay, that means we get to see them in the movies one day, right? Probably not. Then why'd you say it was connected? Just to make people happy, I guess. Because in the first season of Daredevil, the whole, a lot of the talk was that, they were talking about what happened in the Avengers. And then pretty much the whole point of Jessica Jones in the first season was, what happened in the Avengers, is that people had lost their loved ones because of, the superhuman people. And, there was actually an episode dedicated to that where this couple tried to kill Jessica because, she blamed her because of what happened in the, fight for New York. So, and it just sucks because how you gonna do this again? It's basically another Fox thing where it's like, we want to see all these characters in the same universe. We all want to see them interact. I'm dying to see Daredevil interact with Iron Man. I want to see Luke Cage interact with Captain America. That would be fucking dope. Why can't we do that? I don't get what's wrong with the TV department. Like, why can't the TV department just make the fans happy? Why can't the movie department make the fans happy? Marvel just needs to just give the fans what they want. And, to cancel it, and I hope this is true that, Hulu wants to pick them up, and I hope they do. And again, Disney owns Hulu. Disney owns Hulu now. This is something that needs to happen. And if it does, awesome. Because you ended the shows with a lot of what ifs. And that's not a proper way to end a show. You can't just end a season with the possibility of something that's going to happen in the next season. Because it would have made more sense if you just finished it up. Like, if you say, okay, the hero's done doing what he has to do, he's going to go home. No, in, Daredevil, they ended with the possibility of Bullseye. Of more Bullseye, and he was going to be in his costume. And Luke Cage, they ended with him being a boss. A crime boss. And Iron Fist, they ended with him and, what's his name, Ward, off in Thailand, with him shooting bullets out of his... Or with him shooting iron, glowing bullets. They had Colleen Wing doing the same thing. That's another thing. I want to see more Colleen Wing. Punisher, same thing. The probability of, bringing in more villains. Him finally seeing John Bernthal as the Punisher and not this, boring Frank Castle he likes to play. Jessica Jones, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm pretty sure they're going to leave it, unanswered. And that's kind of another, kick in the nuts to the fans. Why cancel a show when you're just leaving it unanswered? That's just very disrespectful to me. And if that's the case, I might just be canceling Netflix and just stick to Hulu. Alright, what else? And this final bit of entertainment news, anyone that watches The Flash, I haven't been keeping up with this season. I've kind of fallen fallen off with the Flash. It just the first 2 seasons were very good. After that, they just started to become more of a comedy show and just focus on these really just kind of dumb storylines. Like I don't like Iris. I mean, I love the actress that plays her. I think she's freaking gorgeous. I think she's possibly one of the most beautiful women in the world. I just don't like how they make her Iris. They've made Iris this, I'm going to be the leader of the team whether you like it or not. It's like, no, that doesn't work. And they do the weird Harrison Wells storyline where, he's evil and then he's a dick and then he leaves and he's a dick again. And then he brings in Harrison Wells from other universes, which that doesn't do it for me. Now they're bringing in the daughter, which I don't know how that's going to work. Yeah, anyways, Carlos Valdes, who plays Cisco, is apparently leaving this season. He's apparently leaving the show after season 5. Cisco has been a constant presence of the Flash, getting Barry on his missions and technical expertise. And in season 2, Cisco's role in the show evolved when he discovered his own metahuman abilities and took on Vibe. According to discussing film, Valdes will not return to the Flash in season 6. The new rumor cites Valdes' background on Broadway as a reason for his upcoming departure. If the rumor is to be believed, Valdes is planning on leaving the Flash to resume his Broadway career. The door is still open for him to return in lesser capacity. He will no longer be a series regular. We Got This Covered has a reported similar rumor. While none of this has been officially confirmed, the report from Discussing Film does bring up an interesting point that would provide evidence of Valdes' exit from the series. Sorry. In recent episode spoilers. Cisco's appearances seem to have been reduced, albeit for story-related reasons. Cisco has suddenly developed a different attitude toward metahuman powers and has vowed to create a cure. He's been spending a great deal of time working on the cure while staying in Caitlin's father's lab in the Arctic. It's not clear if Cisco's work on the cure would lead to a character quitting Team Flash in Central City. His reasons for leaving may be more to do with his changing attitude towards metahumans. With Cisco now being devoted to the cure, Cisco's enthusiasm for helping Barry and his friends fight supervillains seems to have died down. Cisco may have simply decided that he no longer wishes to be a member of Team Flash. It's possible that the show is using Cisco's focus on the cure to slowly prepare viewers for Cisco to leave the Flash. This way, Cisco's absence won't be so strongly felt in season 6, and it'll be easier for the show to move on without one of its most important characters. That makes sense. Again, I haven't been watching it, so that kind of spoiled it for me. But if that's true, that kind of sucks, because I like Cisco. He's one of my favorite characters. He's kind of the heart and soul of the show. I need to watch it now, but yeah, I mean, if he leaves, he leaves. Because you can't just do the same role forever. And again, he has a life outside of the show. He's doing Broadway and wants to focus more on that. And hey, kudos to him. You're able to find something. You're able to be successful in something, and then find something else and be as successful at that. More power to him. If he leaves, it's gonna suck. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch the show. I barely watch now. But, hey, good for him. That's really all I have to say. And then here comes the end of the show. That's enough for the entertainment news. I will do what I said what I was going to do at the beginning of the show and give my Elimination Chamber predictions. Elimination Chamber, February 17th, which is actually this Sunday. Houston, Texas, Toyota Center. Alright, let's look at the match card. First match, there's 7 matches on here, so I'm just going to go, 7-1. Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin, which was announced yesterday, I believe. Braun Strowman's going to win. I hope he crushes him. I don't want this to be a competitive match. I just want to see Braun Strowman go out there and kill Baron Corbin. The What was that? It sounded like there were fireworks outside. I'll be sure to add that up. Yeah, it sounded like there were fireworks outside. Anyways, Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Braun Strowman needs to crush Baron. I have no interest in this feud. I don't get why they still like Baron. They took away all the aspects of him that made him a wrestler. And they still, for whatever reason, like to put him on TV in these high-profile feuds. Like, he's not very interesting. He's not interesting at all. He sucks. Even at NXT, he sucked. He was not good. He cannot have a good... the guy can't have a good match with anyone. And for whatever reason, they still like to keep him around. So I hope this is a pretty quick match. I mean, Drew McIntyre is probably going to interfere pretty quick. He'll probably be a part of the match somehow. So we'll see how that goes, and Kurt Angle's probably going to be part of it somehow. Next match, another match that was announced. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush versus Finn Balor. Handicap match for the Intercontinental Championship. Who would win this? I mean, I would say maybe Finn. I mean, give Finn. He's had a interesting, beginning of the year. They love Finn. He's a guy that they love, and I'm okay with, because I like Finn too. Finn works hard. He's a good face for the company. He's a good dude. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. He's not. Well, I mean, I think he drinks beer, but he's not like a heavy drinker. He doesn't do drugs. He's a good face for the company. The fans love him. You never hear a bad word about Finn Balor. So I would say it's better to put the title on him. Take it off of boring Lashley. Again, another guy, I don't know what they see in him. They obviously see that he's, has a good physique, but he's just boring. And Lio Rush, I don't think he does him any favors. Lio Rush is a good talker, but he's with the wrong guy. He'd be better off with someone else. I don't know who, maybe with an up-and-comer, but, at this point, Lio Rush is just kind of annoying. He's just very cringeworthy with his, Lashley! 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 It's like, he literally looks like a child. I mean, I know Finn Balor's small, but Finn Balor actually looks like a dude. Lio Rush looks like a child. He looks like a child that he looks like someone I went to junior high with. He literally looks like a child. So I hope Finn Balor wins this. I truly hope he does. Sorry, feet are itching again. Next match, Ronda Rousey, Ruby Riott. Raw Women's Championship. Ronda's going to win. I mean, there's no chance now she's going to lose before Mania. It'll definitely be an interesting match. Riot Squad are going to be there. Charlotte said that she's going to, be front and center for the match. It's good to see Ruby get the spotlight, because I like Ruby. She's going to be champion one of these days. She's going to be the women's champion one day. Not today, or not Elimination Chamber. She's going to give Ronda a pretty good match. I'm not sure how the match is going to go, obviously, but it'll be a good match. Riot Squad are going to be involved somehow, but if they really want to make Ronda look like a badass, have her go out there and just beat the shit out of the rest of those other two bitches, and then take out Ruby in a quick second. Like, have a point where the ref's knocked out, and then the Riot Squad comes out and just, teams up on Ronda and beats her up, and then Ronda just hulks up and beats the fuck out of all three of them. Takes out, Sarah Logan, takes out Liv Morgan, and then, swiftly takes out Ruby Riott. So that's how the match ends. Ronda wins. Should be a fun match. Next match, Buddy Murphy versus Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship. I don't pay attention to 205 Live, so I can't really give you an estimated guess on this. They're going to keep it on Buddy. Buddy, from what I've seen, in the pay-per-view events, he's very good. He's, the best guy that they have on the card. The guy's a brick shithouse. Even Corey Graves said, that guy does not look like he's 205. Probably, he does not look like he's 205 pounds. Akira Tozawa is, again, very talented. He's very charismatic. It should be a good match. Might be one of the better matches on the card. Alright, next match. The Miz and Shane McMahon versus the Usos for the Tag Team Championships. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know if this is going to set up Miz and Shane's feud at Mania, or if they're going to continue somehow. I don't know. I would hope the Usos win. Tonight on SmackDown, the confrontation between the Usos and, Miz and Shane McMahon, the crowd was very pro-Usos. Very much so, because the Usos have been wrestling longer. They've been established longer. They, to me, are the best tag team in wrestling. Better than the Young Bucks. And as much as I like the Young Bucks, the Usos actually look like a tag team. They look like guys that can beat the shit out of you. The Young Bucks look like kids. They literally look like kids. Yeah, they got a few, muscles on them, but they still look like kids. You put them in the ring against, the Usos, the crowd's going to see the Usos and go, yep, they're going to kill them. And the Usos can talk, and they're out talking Shane and Miz. And it's not very easy to out-talk the Miz, but they were doing that tonight. I hope the Usos win, but I don't think they will. If they win, it will probably be because the Miz turned on Shane. Which, WWE, again, they can't help themselves. They like to kickstart, feuds as quickly as they can. Yeah, this match probably won't be that good. Next match. Tag Team Elimination Chamber match for the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Nia Jackson, Tamina, the Riot Squad, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville versus the Iconics. Versus Bayley and Sasha versus Naomi and Carmella. Bayley and Sasha are going to win this match. There's really no doubt about that. That they've been building these two as a tag team solely because of this. Mandy Rose and Sonya aren't winning it. That's for damn sure. The Iconics sure as hell aren't winning it. Naomi and Carmella sure as hell ain't winning it. It'll more than likely come down to the Riot Squad versus Bayley and Sasha, or actually maybe Nia Jackson, Tamina versus Bayley and Sasha, just so they can have that narrative of, they took down two of the biggest competitors in the match, and they'll probably have Nia Jackson, Tamina just clean house until it comes down to Bayley and Sasha. I don't have any faith in this match to be good. I mean, you look at the barrage of talent. Bayley and Sasha are probably the only two decent competitors in the match. Mandy and Sonya aren't very good. The Iconics are terrible. Naomi and Carmella are not good. The Riot Squad are okay, but as much as I like Liv Morgan, she's not very good. Sarah Logan's terrible, and then Nia Jackson, Tamina, they're the powerhouses of the match. They're going to go out there and just beat the shit out of people. So we're not sure how this match is going to go. Maybe it might be better than we think it might be, but I doubt it. But my pick is Bayley and Sasha. Lastly, Elimination Chamber for the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton versus Samoa Joe versus Kofi Kingston, who was just announced. Daniel Bryan's going to win. Again, to be honest, I don't see too many title changes. The only title change I see is maybe the Intercontinental Champion. Other than that, with this and, Ronda Rousey's match, I don't see any title changes. I mean, yeah, the tag team match, the inaugural tag team championships, that's different because it's a brand new title, but SmackDown Tag Championships and this match and the women's tag team or the women's championship match, I don't see anything changing because I don't know. It seems like they want to save their champs for Mania. I don't see Daniel Bryan losing because we don't even know who he's facing it. Randy Orton's going to be the one that comes out last. Who's going to start out the match? I have a feeling it's going to be AJ and Daniel, just so they can have that narrative of like, oh, these two have a very long and rich history. And it's going to come down to Daniel and, I would say Kofi, just so they can pick up where they left off with the Kofi saying, he lasted an hour and he eliminated Daniel first. we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Daniel, I think, is going to win. Who he's going to face, I don't know. I don't know who he's going to face. Because I don't want to see AJ and Daniel again. That's for sure. Supposedly they're going to have AJ versus Randy at Mania, which should be a fun match. AJ versus Hardy, I mean, should be a good match, but is it a WrestleMania match? No. AJ versus Joe, both heels, wouldn't work. AJ versus Kofi, again, it'd be a fun match, but I don't know if that'd be a Mania match. I mean, would you bring up a NXT call up? I mean, I'd pitch the idea of having Aleister Black debut in the Rumble and win it, and then challenge Daniel Bryan, but that didn't work. So I don't know. I'm fine with not knowing because I want to be surprised. I mean, they'll probably make it a big schmoz, like a fatal four-way or triple threat, which, again, it'll be fun, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. All right, that's the end of the show. That's all the news. That's all the wrestling news I have. Gotta do my plugs. Wrestling Soup. Listen to Wrestling Soup. It's going to be on Discord now. Starting this week is going to be on Discord, 8:30 Central Time, 9:30 Eastern. Go to their Patreon page. They have plenty of cool shit. Mish and John Draper do Side Salad. That's every other Wednesday, I believe. And then Mish and Joey do the freaking Guest Show, which is I think is either every other Tuesday or every Tuesday. Mish does a WoW review every Friday. I don't watch WoW. Mish is very high on WoW. Maybe I'll give it a chance. Don Tony Kevin Castle show. Starting on Discord. Every Mondays after Raw. I love those dudes. Those dudes have been killing it. DT is an OG. Kev's a friend of the show. Go to their Patreon page. Got plenty of cool shit. DT and Mish do Breakfast Soup every Wednesday. What else? And then you got Kevin. Kevin's got 2 shows. Can you believe they gave that guy 2 shows? He has Castle Chronicles, which is just him, and then you got Dark Chronicles, which is him and Trez, another good friend of the show. Oh, Texas Podcast Massacre. If you love horror movies, this is your place to be. These guys review horror movies, even bad movies. Like you ever watch bad horror movies with your friends, and you guys are just making commentary and just laughing at the ridiculousness of it? These guys review it. These guys do an amazing job at even making bad horror movies interesting. They just did a review of Velvet Buzzsaw on Netflix, and I was dying in the car laughing at it. I love these guys. Great, another good friends of the show. Who else? Julian from the Wrestling Court. Listen to him. The guy's amazing. Who's another guy? A friend of mine named Sean, who I refer to as Bigfoot. He's starting a podcast pretty soon. As soon as I know anything about it, when it's going to start, I'll let you guys know about it. Bops and Bangers, if you love music, if you're a fan of music, which I'm not, or just music in general. These guys are, my friend Peter is starting a podcast pretty soon. It was supposed to start in March, but they had to cancel it, or they had to postpone it, but it's supposed to start pretty soon. So listen to that. Architect Podcast. It's like me, but not as good. I'm playing. It's awesome. Listen to it. They listen to any type of nerd shit you like. Comics, movies, video games too. Listen to them. They're wherever you can find video. Wherever you can find podcasts in general. Listen to them. And then for all your comic book and nerd and just anything nerd related needs, Heroes and Fantasies. If you live in San Antonio, go to Heroes and Fantasies. They've been around for a while. Love going there. That's where I buy most of my shit. I've been going there since I was a kid. And that was when they were in the Ingram area. And I would mainly go there to buy Pokemon cards and the comic books. And then they moved close to Callahan. And I still go there to get my comic books. And it's a great place. I'm trying to get them as a sponsor. So if you guys hear me, I'm your guy. Sponsor me. Yeah, Heroes and Fantasies for all your comic book needs. That's your place to be. Anyways, I am done. That's everything. You guys know where to find me on Spreaker. I'll upload this pretty soon. And then Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, same name, Drew Yari Show. And that is it. I will be back next week. And that will do it for tonight. Thank you and good night.